All right, everyone. Now we're going to go over to Stephanie. Good morning, Stephanie. Stephanie has a story for us, a personal story. Thank you, Stephanie, for being brave and for being here and telling us about your story. Good morning.
Thank you, Polly. Thanks for having me on. I'm honored to be here.
Well, thank you for waiting patiently for the whole show, being at the end. Um, right, Stephanie, let's start off your story because this starts off with HPV Gardasil shot, correct?
It does, yes.
So before we talk about that, can we just go back and talk about where was your mindset with vaccinations? Were you completely up to date with everything? We'd always been vaccinated?
So I've always been vaccinated. I'm completely up to date from all of the childhood shots. My parents were very pro-vaccine and have actually changed their tune as I have become a mother. And I went to go get all of my updated shots for my junior and high school year, and the effects were subtle. And I didn't even tie them back to the vaccine until I was an adult and experienced another vaccine reaction.
Okay, so let's talk about you took the HPV. Was it just the HPV Gardasil when you went to to catch up on your shots?
So the first time I got the first HPV round, I also got the Tdap or the TD.
Yeah,
Uh,
probably. Yeah,
Go ahead.
it was probably the Tdap because I presume you were an adult then.
Yes, I believe I was 17.
Oh no, maybe it might have been the DTaP. But anyway, so you took that and you took an HPV.
Yes.
Wow.
And I didn't even realize how much it affected me until I went back and I looked at the dates and I really remembered about my junior and senior year in high school and what happened to me. I had started off being a volleyball player on my varsity team. I was a little libero, and I started playing so well. I was put in before seniors that were supposed to be starters, and I was starting, and I got that shot, and my physicality, I couldn't focus. I could not play, and I ended up getting replaced because I couldn't do it anymore. And I thought it was because of my mental load and anxiety and depression. And I go back and I look, and right as I had gotten that shot was in the middle of my playing season where I had faltered.
Did you take three Gardasil shots in all?
I did not. I only took the second one. And after the second one, I started getting these partial subluxations in my chest. My ribs would pop out. And the first time it happened, I thought I was having a heart attack. It was in the middle of Spanish class, and I was supposed to be taking a test, and I had reached down to grab a notebook, and my bone had popped out. And I had to go to the office and call my mom, and I thought I was dying. And after that, it resolved, but it never went away. I always had these partial subluxations happening to my body. And I started getting these massive tension headaches where I could not focus or do anything. And I was just told, oh, it's part of life. It's normal. It's part of hormones and all of the things. And I just had to learn to live with it.
Now, Stephanie, you went on to go to nursing school, correct?
I
And
did.
they required you to have the flu and Tdap, correct?
Yes. So
That probably
I had to get my shots up to date. And I had had some experiences previous to that where my symptoms had worsened. I'd started on a antidepressant and it had started causing neurological issues in my shoulder and down my right arm. And then I went and I got these updated vaccines, and my symptoms spread not just from my arm, but to my leg. And I started getting neurologic conditions and shooting pains on the left side of my body as well. And I felt like my whole body was on fire. I went to the doctor, and it was right after the vaccines were given, and they diagnosed me with a mild Guillain-Barré syndrome. So not the condition that's life-threatening and reaches your lungs, but the condition that affects your nerves so severely you're in severe pain, and you start to like get paralysis of feeling and of touch and sensation.
did you at this point now realize this is the vaccines?
Yes. I This was a turning point for me. It happened a year and a half before COVID. So I was awake when COVID happened. And COVID was a catalyst for me not to become awake, but to do more of a deep dive and really open my eyes to all of the vaccines. And I started to heal and find things. I took control back of my life and I stepped away from the pharmaceutical industry, even though I had more injuries after this vaccine. Gardasil and MRI contrast, it was given to me trying to figure out what was going on with me. And it caused the symptoms in my body to spread and happen all at once. And my blood pressure dropped, and I was shaky and white and pale. And they wanted me to go to the ER, and I chose not to and to wait it out. But it was a huge couple steps forward, 10 steps back. And after that, I really turned away from the pharmaceutical industry and I started looking for things that would help me because I was awake completely and I knew that vaccines and pharmaceuticals were doing damage to my body.
So is there anything that would ever make you take a vaccine again?
No, never. I know now that recovering naturally from these diseases by not being malnourished, by having the foods we need and the supplementation we need, by growing food in my own garden, by fermenting my own apple cider vinegar, by taking the things that my body needs and that Heavenly Father leads me to, that I am strong and capable of overcoming any disease.
And have you seen the health of the unvaccinated? Have you experienced that?
Yes, I have a son now, and I was so sick at one point. I was bedridden to the point where I was going to have to drop out of nursing school because I couldn't do a 12-hour clinical shift. I would do one clinical shift and then lay in bed the entire week, just getting ready for my next 12-hour clinical shift. And I going to the hospital and working in the medical industry have seen how sick and how ill we are. Being a mother, I've seen how many ear infections, I've seen autism, I've seen kids on the spectrum in my family and all around me with chronic sensory issues and always being sick. And it kills me, it hurts me so badly because I see my son and he is thriving. And I see those around me who choose not to vaccinate and their kids are thriving. And that doesn't mean that my son doesn't get sick and he doesn't have his medical issues. He was actually injured by an antibiotic. But I know that vaccines are not the answer. And in fact, some of the ingredients in them, especially the DNA from aborted fetal cells, I know that they play a key role in what we see going on in the world today and that they are harming us at a very severe level.
Now, you mentioned your parents were very pro-vaccine. So what do they think about your story and your beautiful toxin-free son, their grandchild? What is going through their minds now?
So it's been very eye-opening as I've shared my story with them. And I have some complicated paternal relationships, but I have two moms, and my biological mom is actually a nurse and a nurse practitioner. So as I've shared this information with her and her eyes have been opened through COVID, it's completely changed her trajectory on the issue. And she is now very anti-vaccine. My adopted mom, she is the one that took me to get my Gardasil shot. And yet I'm here being congratulated for not vaccinating my son and for opening my eyes and learning, where she wishes she had known more and not had us vaccinated.
How old
And
is your
so
son?
he is 18 months now.
And is he developing typically?
So he is very, very healthy, except for an injury to his gut microbiome that was caused by an antibiotic. It has caused him to struggle with gaining calcium in his body and has led to a mild form of rickets. And so he's so advanced. He is so big for his age. And as we're treating the rickets with high bioavailable doses of calcium and vitamin D and omega-3s, he is healing. And again, I see the holistic approach working, where the pediatric approach and the mainstream medical approach was to focus on waiting for him to be a surgical candidate.
I don't know what you must be thinking right now. You've got the vaccine injury, antibiotic injury. I mean, we hear this the whole time, so many injuries from the tiny drugs or big drugs or whatever it may be. It's non-stop big pharma injury. So are you just done with all of this unless it's an emergency?
Yes, and it's so hard to know, because part of me wants to believe that there's pieces of the medical industry that are still good. I see that there is potential in our army-based medicine. I see there's potential in how we treat broken bones and car accident victims and amputations and gunshot wounds. We're good at those things. We save lives. But where does that line end? And the spurring of the chronic conditions and the worsening of our health happen? Where is the line? And I struggle to find that line. And I just want to gain more knowledge and learn more, because I have found the answers to heal my body. I've taken my power back. I said no to the pharmaceutical industry, and I changed exactly what Zen was talking about. I've changed my cleaning products, my laundry detergent and my dish soap and my hand soap and my beauty products. And I don't wear makeup because I don't want to have to bother with finding the non-toxic forms of it. I've got a water filter and an air filter. I work on my exercise. I care very deeply about what I put into my body. I have done those things. I have found the right supplements and the right programs to help with my mental and physical health. And the programs that have worked for me might not work for everyone, because everyone's path is different and everyone's condition and need to find their correct environment to let their body heal is different. But there is power in holistic. There is power in making these changes and finding health. But again, I don't know where the line is, and I just want to gain more knowledge until I find it.
Stephanie, isn't it sort of bizarre, but also in a way kind of sort of interesting that you had to have your injury to save your child. My son had to have his injury to save the grandchildren. It's in a way, I'm grateful to you, first of all, for speaking out, and the fact that you had the injury, because you may have gone on and taken the COVID shot and given the COVID shot to your son or anything like that. But it's sad that it has to be an injury for us to wake up.
I agree. And it's sad because I see it all around me. I see myself being injured. I have a dear friend from nursing school who was injured by the COVID vaccine, and that caused her to wake up, and now her kids are unvaccinated. And I see so many moms who, I have this dear friend, and her first son is vaccine injured, and it woke her up to the harms of vaccines. And the medical industry is hurting us. These vaccines are hurting us. And it is so sad that we have to experience these injuries for ourselves to wake up, to see the truth that is behind all of these lies and these propaganda and this system that is so corrupt and run by money and monetary value and the desire for more power and control. I wish so badly that God would have his truth be known, because I see the truth. I see him unfolding it to me, and I just wish more people saw it without needing to experience the pain and the suffering I and so many around me have experienced.
Stephanie, you're an amazing human being. I'm sorry this happened to you. I'm thrilled for your child. And I'm again, all the viewers will be saying the same thing. Just grateful for you speaking up and speaking out. And I hope more people come forward like you to do this. Thank you for being here this morning and for speaking so honestly.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. And I am so grateful that I've learned about your guys' TV channel and these programs. Listening to Zen, it's given me some resources to go out and look and find a way to support on a bigger level than I was aware of before. So thanks for having me.
Thank you, Stephanie, and Godspeed as you go forward with everything that you are doing.